Cassidy, where are you right now? Mom is really worried about where you've ran off to. It's the day of your meeting with the guy, and yet you're nowhere to be found.
Mom is still trying to find where I am. I already told her that I'm not going to meet with that guy.
What? Are you going to no-show for the meeting they set up for you?
That's what I've decided. I'm not going to let my parents be the ones to decide who I go out with. That's boring and lame. I want to live a life that I get to decide. So I'm going to wait to marry a man that I find fit for myself instead.
Huh? What are we even talking about right now? You were the one that wanted Mom and Dad to find you a partner to begin with, right? You made such a big deal about how you wanted to marry a man with a lot of money and asked Mom and Dad to look for a man like that for you. That's why Mom and Dad went through all the effort to get this meeting ready for you so that you could see the guy they think you'll like.
And at the time, the goal was to get married to a good-looking man with a lot of money. But look, after making such a big deal out of it, I ran into the man I am destined for. That's when I realized everything I needed to. It's not about money when it comes to marriage. It's all about the love and care that they show you.
Please don't tell me you went out and found yourself a male host and are planning to marry him over one time of him showing you some attention?
What? Why do you know about something like that? I never told anyone in the family, including you, that I've been paying to see male hosts.
There was something that had fallen right in front of your bedroom door. A card that you must have received from one of those hosts, and it was bedazzled. Also, you've been recently coming home at like 3 or 4 in the morning pretty often. You often smell of pure liquor every time. I knew right away what was going on there.
Wow, you're like a detective.
As long as the both of you actually love one another, that's fine. But before you run off with a man like that, you need to deal with the other responsibilities you have, please. You have a meeting with a man you were asking Mom and Dad to look for, right? You need to go to both Mom and Dad and that man and apologize to them before saying you're no longer interested. That's the least you can do for them all.
What? I'm not doing any of that. I can apologize to them all I want, but they're going to be pissed at me for this. So that's why I'd like you to go to all of them and tell them that I'm not coming today and that I'm sorry about it.
Huh? Why do I have to do something like that for you?
Well, you're my older sister, and your job is to take responsibility for your cute little sister. So with that, please take care of things back home. Today I have a date with Jake at Mouse World. Hey, Helena, please listen. I finally got something from Cassidy. She told me that she's not coming to today's meeting at all now. She said she found herself the man she's destined for and will be marrying him.
Just a second ago, she was telling me all about that. It seems as though the male host she's been going out with recently has taken a hold of her heart.
A male host? The man she's destined for is a male host of all people?
She said she finally came around to realizing that love is more important than money. So because of that, she wanted to tell you to cancel the meeting today with the man you had planned for her, and to do it as soon as possible. And after today, you should probably go apologize to him for it.
But, I could never go through with canceling this meeting now. The man I had prepared for her is someone I had to pull a lot of strings with to get to go to this meeting. He happens to be a businessman that's helping run his family's company right now. And on top of that, he happens to be the son of a very important customer to your dad. So there's no way I'm going to be able to cancel this meeting on him now.
Wait, really? Then we're going to have to go and get Cassidy and have her go to meet him right away. I'll tell her to go back home right now.
No, it's no use trying to do that with her now. I'm not even able to get her to read the texts I'm sending to her anymore.
What?
I might have tried too hard to get a hold of her and really drove her off. The last thing she said to me was that if I'm going to be so upset about her, then she's not coming back home. And since that text, she hasn't read anything and won't pick up her phone to my calls either. Your dad has even tried calling her and she won't pick up for him either.
No way! She's not reading any more of my texts that I've sent. I think she's gone and blocked me, actually.
I knew this would happen with her. If this is how things are going to be, then it's up to you. I want you to go to that man we have waiting. I want you to go and meet with that CEO's son right now for your sister.
Huh? Why do I have to go see him?
You're already old enough now, and this is the perfect chance for you to find a good man to marry. He happens to be the son of a CEO and helps run the family business with his dad. If you and him get along, then you'll be set for life. He's in his 50s now, but he is a good-looking man, and I think you'll like him.
Hold your horses. He's in his 50s right now? I'm only 28 years old, Mom.
You'll be fine. Karen happens to be married to a man who is 45 years older than her. Compared to her, you're only around 22 years younger than him, so you're fine.
That does not make me feel any better about seeing him. And the other thing is that I'm not even wanting to get married right now.
Oh, just shut up already and get yourself prepared to go see him. Your little sister went and canceled last minute on him, and you, being her older sister, means you have to take over for her. It's your job.
Huh?
You're the older sister, right? If your little sister doesn't want to do something anymore, then you step in to do it for her. That's what it means to be an older sister.
For crying out loud, Mom, ever since I was little, you've always been forcing me to do everything for her, all because I'm her older sister. I'm tired of having to be the one to clean up after all of Cassidy's messes.
Excuse me?
I never thought the day would come where you'd actually force me to clean up a mess like this for her. Having to go out with the man she was crying for? Who the hell have you thought I am this whole time, Mom? Every dang time my little sister causes trouble or makes an accident, you send me in to clean up the mess. I'm not Cassidy's janitor.
What is with that attitude of yours? When have I ever treated you like her janitor?
You've been treating me like that ever since she was born. Every time she got yelled at in school, and you blamed me for it, saying I wasn't watching her close enough. Why the hell did I have to act like her parent at school and apologize for everything she did? And what about the times that Cassidy would break her friends' toys? You would blame me for not being there to manage how she handled the toys, and then would take my allowance away and use it to pay for new toys. I'm sick and tired of being there to take blame for everything she does.
Shut up right now! This is what it means to be an older sister. Now you cut it out with all that back-talking and get your ass ready to go see that man. If you don't, I'm going to have you kicked out of this house.
What did you say to me?
You are too old now to not be married yet, and instead all you've been doing is living in your parents' house. If you want to keep living your life like that, the least you can do is shut up and be useful to your parents. You are going to see that man now that Cassidy isn't going. Do you hear me, Helena? I want you to make everything work with him and make him your husband so that you don't have to rely on your dad and I anymore. And once you and him have your marriage, I want you sending your dad and I $2,000 every month.
Huh? Enough! Since when?
Since when what?
Since when did this become about me sending you guys any money? This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
I was expecting my young and pretty Cassidy to be the one to marry that man, but now I'm no longer able to get any response from her. So I'm going to make you responsible for her actions, and we'll have you marry him now and send us our money. You marry that man, and you pay us every month as a way of being as good of a daughter to us as Cassidy was. Helena, today I'm going to be coming back to Mom and Dad's house.
Cassidy?
Long time no see, right? Have you been doing okay?
Where have you been all this time? Ever since that day you never talked to me. We've had no clue about where you went. I thought you died or been kidnapped or something. Yet after 5 years, you're just gonna come back to Mom and Dad's like nothing ever happened?
Man, I'm sorry about whatever happened back then. I guess I pissed Mom and Dad off a lot more than I'd first imagined. I was too afraid to go back home to them, so that day I chose to start living with my boyfriend.
Boyfriend? Are you talking about the male host you were after then?
That's right. I went and stayed at Jake's house. Then he and I got engaged, but then we broke up. But then we got back together again. A lot has happened in the past 5 years. But the next big thing that's happened is I've become pregnant with his kid. That's why I've planned to tell all of you guys about how we've gotten married and are having a baby when I'm home.
What? You got married and now you're pregnant?
So much has happened to me that I'm sure you're shocked, right? When I showed Mom and Dad my big belly, they were both just as shocked as you are.
You showed them your belly already. Wait, so then you're already at the house then?
That's what I've been trying to say. And that's why I said starting today I'd be back in their house. Just a bit ago, I got back from my 5 years vacation. I was assuming they would never let me back into the house again, but they both cried when they saw me and were so happy.
I'm sure they were. For some reason or another, Mom and Dad just love you so much that they'd do anything for you. And while you've been gone, you got married and are going to give birth to their grandchild. All of their wishes as your parents have come true by this point.
And this is all thanks to you, Helena. Thank you so much for being a single woman this whole time. Because of that, both Mom and Dad were able to let me right into the house without even thinking about it.
Huh?
Man, I was surprised by that. I had given you the chance to land yourself a man with all that money and a very bright future. But he told you no when you went to see him? You were told that you weren't his type by an old geezer in his 50s? That pretty much means you're screwed as a woman.
What? Well, he was expecting to be marrying a 22-year-old woman who never had any experience with a man before, and that's what Mom told him. However, I happened to be 28 at the time, and that wasn't part of the deal, so of course he'd say no to me.
And since then, you've been alone with not a single man interested in you, right? That is too crazy. No wonder Mom and Dad were so happy to have me come back to them after 5 years. Mom told me she was getting so fed up with a worthless daughter like you who never did anything for her parents. She then told me that she never expected to see her baby's face again, so this is the happiest she's felt in a long time.
That's just like Mom and Dad to be the most cruel people in the family. I never turned out to be the child they wanted, so they abandoned me and put all their love and care into you.
And so, Helena? About them not caring about you any from today, you're no longer allowed back in this house. I'm going to make sure that the parasite who's been living off her parents for far too long without ever finding herself a man or making any kids is gone for good.
Huh?
Well, Mom and Dad both told me that it would be wonderful if after giving birth to my baby, I just lived with them forever. So I gave my man a call about it. And he told me that if things are going okay after the birth, it would be totally okay to live with my parents. So that means he's going to need room for all his things in this house, too.
So what you're saying is that in order to accommodate your husband now, you're going to give him my room?
That's right. I'm so sorry that I'm always so selfish and both Mom and Dad do everything for me. But you've always been such a loser ever since you were a little girl, so it's not my fault everyone has grown tired of you and wants you gone.
Huh?
I'm going to take all your crap now and throw it outside the house for you, all right? A parasite your age needs to learn that you don't get access to everything anymore. Especially when your cute and loved little sister needs it more. So it's time for you to go. I really hope that you can end up like me soon, finding yourself a good husband and a house to live in.
I'm not living in that house anymore. I live with my husband in a high-rise apartment now.
What?
So go ahead and live with Mom and Dad again. Do whatever the heck you want, really. All of that has nothing to do with me. So have fun moving your husband into their house as well.
What? Husband? And high-rise apartment? Helena, have you already started to have early onset dementia or something? You're a single woman, so you don't have a husband. And there's no way you'd ever afford to live in one of those kinds of apartments. That is so insane of you to say something like that I just peed myself a little laughing.
I'm sorry, but nothing about this is insane. It's all very, very real. I moved out of Mom and Dad's house long ago, actually.
Huh? What are you going on about? You have been living with Mom and Dad all your life, right? You told everyone that the only way you'd be moving out of their house is if you got married, right?
And that was the plan, but I got kicked out of the house by Mom and Dad. After you ran away, they forced me to go and meet the man you were supposed to see. But that old guy told me I wasn't his type and left. Mom and Dad had been hoping that one of their daughters would end up with a man loaded with money, but I wasn't able to achieve that for them. So Mom told me that she never wanted to see my face again, and that's when I got kicked out of the house.
What?
Of course, by that point, they had gotten on my last nerve, so I jumped on what she was wanting from me and said I would never come back again. And ever since that day, I've not once gone back to see them.
Is that right? But in your room that you were living in, all your things are in here. All your clothing and your bags, makeup, all of it is in here. Yet, you're telling me you don't live here anymore?
They told me to leave their sight when they were out of the house, right after that 50-year-old left. At that point, I was so fed up with everyone that I didn't even go home to grab any of my things. After that, I started renting a small apartment and had to buy all the things I needed back.
No way.
And a little while after all that, I met someone amazing and we ended up getting married. But actually, I still haven't gotten around to telling Mom or Dad about it. I'm sorry, but could you go and tell those two about it? Let them know that their older daughter's been married for some years now. And explain to them that my husband and I have a very nice high-rise apartment now, and I'll not be going back to them. Then you can finish by saying that you and your husband are totally welcome to move into their house now.
Wait. No way. Why did you never ever tell something so important to Mom and Dad? Couldn't you have at least told Mom that you got married? And what do you mean you both live in a high-rise apartment? I still don't get that. What kind of man did you end up marrying?
He's just your average office worker, but both him and myself have been doing very well in the fields we work. So the money that each of us bring in each year is comparable to that of a doctor.
Comparable to that of a doctor?
You think I'd ever in my entire life want to tell those two dumbasses about the wonderful life I'm living now? Those two wanted me to marry a man in his 50s so that they could have access to all his money, right? And when that didn't work out, after forcing me to take your place and meeting him, they cast me out of the house. I was worried that the only thing that would come from telling them about marriage was trouble.
I get that, but...
That's all I have to say now. And let me just say, don't bother asking me for any gifts because you're having a baby. I plan on cutting ties between myself and all of you.
Hey, Helena, I heard about you from Cassidy. What the hell were you thinking not telling your parents that you got married? And what's this about you living in a high-rise apartment now? Why have you not been telling your parents about any of that important information?
That's because this information is too important for two dumbasses to know about. Did you not understand that?
Excuse me? You... Who the hell do you think you are, calling your own parents dumbasses?
I don't think of myself as anyone special. Just you happen to be two dicks that think they can treat their older daughter like garbage because she didn't get the old creepy 50-year-old to marry her. I think calling you both dumbasses is the perfect description, to be honest.
At that time, both your dad and I were very tired. That day your little sister just vanished on us. And we had to make sure to take good care of that man because he's the son of your dad's customer. That's why we kind of took out all our anger on you. We didn't actually think that a man like him would be interested in you and turn you away.
I'm not here to listen to your excuses, Mom, and it's not just that makes you and Dad dumbasses. Ever since I was little, you have both completely ignored me for Cassidy and made me responsible for all of the mistakes she made. When you blew up on me the last time, I had had enough myself, and that's why I chose to never go back to you guys. No matter how much you try to apologize and excuse yourself for the way you treated me, I'm not going to let you guys back in my life.
Don't say something so depressing. How about we celebrate both yours and Cassidy's wedding? We can have both your guys' husbands come, and we can all eat delicious food together while sharing good memories we have. I really want to meet your husband, Helena.
Huh?
Oh, can you please at least bring him over to your parents' house just one time? I'll get all kinds of good foods made up for you two, and I'll even prepare a bed for you both to sleep in. It would be wonderful to have the both of you.
What is this all about? Your favorite baby, Cassidy, has come back home to you now, so you don't need me anymore. You're gonna have a grandbaby here soon as well. And from what I've heard, Cassidy and her husband will be moving in with you guys long term, right? I'll most definitely not be bringing my husband back to a place like that, so no thank you.
Then if I make sure Cassidy and them don't live with us, will you come by and stay a while? I really want you to introduce us to your husband who is able to afford a high-rise apartment. If you're able to promise us that you'll bring him over, then I'll do my very best to kick Cassidy out of here. And if you find that you're more happy back here, you are more than welcome to move back home to this house and live with us again. As long as your husband comes too.
What? You don't want to have Cassidy and her husband come live with you? She told me you were so happy to have her home.
And at first I was super happy to see her again. But I never thought that you'd hide from your dad and I the fact that you got married. And, well, without the knowledge of you having a husband like that, I thought that Cassidy was the only one who had a chance at seeing a grandbaby and having someone come and live with us again. But I never knew that her husband used to be a male host at some point. And from what she's told me, he's not even working anymore and just stays home all day. They want to come and live with your dad and I here, but don't plan to give us any money in return. Now that I'm aware of this, I don't want any of them living in my house at all.
What?
At the time, Cassidy came in saying she just got married and was bringing us our first grandbaby. And along with that, she told us the man she married had connections to Dad's work, so of course I was okay with them both coming to live with us. Your dad and I really thought she got married to such a wonderful man.
But it turned out that the man she married is a jobless ex-male host.
And before knowing about any of that, we thought things would go perfectly. We assumed that her husband had money and all that, so we already started to talk about having the house updated and expanded in order to make it all comfortable for us. Her husband having such a job would mean he could afford it, and so I asked her if he would be able to pay for all that work to be done to the house. And that's when she said he doesn't have that kind of money. I was wondering how he didn't have the money to afford such work, and so I asked about it. She told me he wasn't a CEO or anything just yet, but had plans to start his company really soon. She told me he's currently unemployed, but soon he will start his own male host club, like a men's strip club, and make that his business.
So he plans to start his own business.
I was so happy to have Cassidy back in our lives again, but I'm a bit disappointed by all the horrible news she told us after. But you're in a totally different situation than her, right? Your dad and I will apologize for everything we did to you in the past. We can make up again, and you can live with us again, right?
Who the hell would do that with you two? I have no plans of letting you guys meet my husband, and I sure as hell am not going to go back and live with all of you. Your younger daughter isn't doing good enough, so you switch to your older daughter. Your older daughter isn't doing good enough, so you switch back to your younger daughter. And then the cycle starts all over again. Back and forth, back and forth. How many more times are you and Dad going to keep going back and forth between which daughter you want to care more about?
Hey, we're not going back and forth like that.
Don't ever talk to me again. I'll never tell you anything else about the life my husband and I live, so don't bother me anymore. I've chosen to live the rest of my life believing that I never had parents or a sister.
This is the worst. Because of you, I've been kicked out of Mom and Dad's house. What the hell do you think you're doing?
Huh?
Mom and Dad were so happy to have me back home with them again. But the moment they found out that my husband used to be a host and is now jobless, they turned me away. She told me that they're having you move back in with them, so I needed to leave now. They won't even let me have my baby here with them and want me to leave.
They kicked you out already? I have no plans of going back there, and I thought I made that clear already.
Because of this, I need you to tell me where your apartment is right now. I'm coming to your place to relax and have my baby there. That's what I've decided, and nothing's going to change my mind about it.
What?
Had you just stayed single instead of getting married, then Mom and Dad would have never kicked me out of their house because I would have been their only hope. You're going to take responsibility for this.
Shut the hell up, you idiot! I want you to go screw yourself with that responsibility and then walk your ass back to your home and hope that you can still have a baby after being screwed that hard.
What? Shut up! Do something about this right now! You're my older sister, right? I'm not kidding when I say that my husband has no job right now, and that means no money at all. So as my older sister, you should be helping your little sister and her husband in trying times like these.
Go screw yourself. I'm blocking you right now, so have fun crying to nobody.
Huh? You're blocking me? Wait a frickin' minute. There is no way you can block me right now, you jerk.
Then watch this.
Wait! Hey! There is no way you just blocked me. Hey! You read these messages I'm sending to you right now. Helena, please! I'm sorry for everything, and I'll apologize to you in person if you just please let me come to your apartment. I don't have anywhere else to go right now. Helena, please! Helena, please don't leave me!
And just like that, I was able to show Cassidy that I could and would indeed be blocking her. After doing that, we never got any crap from her again, and my husband and I were able to continue living our lives in peace. From some rumors I overheard, it seems that Cassidy and her husband had to end up moving into a dirt-cheap apartment that doesn't even have its own bathroom. They began to fight in that tiny apartment, all while Cassidy has still been carrying her baby. And she makes sure every day to tell her husband that she's realized that money is far more important than love and destiny, and tells him to go get a job. Because of their constant fights, things between them only continue to get worse. Recently, her husband stopped coming home to her, and she would cry on the floor asking why she was given a life like this. When it comes to my parents, my dad sent me a few emails saying that they want me to move back home with them now that they have gotten rid of Cassidy. Or if that's not what I want, then I could at least let them come live with my husband and I in the apartment. Of course, I never responded to any of those emails, and soon I'm thinking of blocking my dad as well. But until then, I'm going to continue reading through these emails so that I can enjoy watching those two morons freak out like their lives depend on me.